Hello, everybody. Welcome to Den of Truth, where Jesus is the way that we follow. I want you all to learn it. You've been here for a while now, so learn it. Jesus is the way that we follow. He is the truth that we seek and speak. And He is the life that we lead and live. Yes. Welcome. This is Den of Truth, and I just want to give somebody a little bit of encouragement today. I know that I said that in the next episode that we'll be talking about either altars or conflict resolution in marriage. But today, I'm really just here to encourage somebody because I know that there's someone out there who is in a marriage right now and is not happy, is not doing well at all. You know, the reason why I started to do this is because I wanted God, I asked God for 200 women who will arise and stand in the gap, not just for their own marriages, but for the marriages of other women all over the world. Just 200. And that's based on the concept of the Bible where it says that one will chase 1,000 and two will chase 10,000. So based off of that concept, I told God, if you would just give me 200 women where we will always meet, encourage each other, and then pray for each other concerning marriage, I will do His work fully. I know that I have accomplished something for the kingdom when I get to that number. So if you're interested in that, I have a form. It's in my link. It's in my bio. So just check somewhere around. You'll find it there. I'm not so tech savvy. I'm trying my best, but you'll find it there. So here I am trying to encourage somebody who is having a hard time in marriage. I want to encourage you and I want to tell you this. You see, I did not just become like this overnight. I waited. I waited on God. I'm not like other women who had or who have husbands who are very powerful Christians, who love God, whose husbands are just about God. Like, you know, if the Nigerian girl in me wants to come out, I'll just say, now small thing in me. Your husbands that have been pastors. No. Believe me, me giving you all the counsel that I am able to give you, and you've been listening so far, is simply because I waited on God. So when I told you in the last episode to learn to wait on God, I meant it. Marriage was hard. It was hard. But I remember something that Bimbo Odukoya said from a long time ago when I got married. I've been married 16 years now. Somebody gave us one of her CDs as a wedding gift. And Bimbo Odukoya said something. She said, marriage is not to be endured. It is to be enjoyed. And I promised myself that I was going to enjoy marriage, even though at the time I wasn't wise enough to know what I was talking about. But I made that promise to myself that my marriage was not going to be endured, but to be enjoyed. So I was blessed. You know, it's very important the things you say out of your mouth. It said, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat its fruit thereof. So I think the Lord took note of what I said. And when things were becoming difficult, oh, believe me, at first I was super disrespectful. So I'm using my story to encourage you. At first I was super disrespectful. I will speak to my husband anyhow. Because you know, sometimes women, you think that you're the prize. That if your husband has married you, then you're all that. And you can do whatever you want. And like things will still go your way. Unfortunately, that wasn't my story. There's some women out there, maybe that's your story, but unfortunately, that wasn't my story. My husband was just a very simple guy. I got married ignorantly. You see everything I'm advising you? I did the direct opposite of all of them. I didn't really pray before I got married. I just said, okay, there's this guy. He likes me. I think I like him too. In fact, don't let me give you all the juicy details about it, but that's what happened. I didn't pray about it. I didn't put God in it. I just went ahead to do whatever it was I wanted to do. In fact, I can tell you this for free. I think I was so desperate about marriage that I ran away from my daddy's house, my father's house, and I just went ahead to be with this guy. And then while I was with him, I thought it was good. He loved me. I loved him. We're just having fun. When I tell you love is not enough, I mean it. Love is not enough. I got into marriage and it was a different ball game. It was a different ball game. But I said, you know what? Lord, what am I going to do? For a long time, my brothers and sisters, let me tell you, I was sitting on the fence. Yes, I was sitting on the fence. You know what that means in Christian concept? It means that, you should check it in Revelation chapter 3. It means that I was a lukewarm Christian. You know what a lukewarm Christian is? You're neither hot nor cold. Sometimes it will feel like I'm going hot. And the moment even I notice I'm going a little bit too hot, I'll say, come on, snap out of it. You're not supposed to be this type of Christian. Snap out of it, relax. And then I'll go back again to being my outgoing self, clubbing, partying, doing everything, and thinking that I was just having fun. But guess what? I realized that marriage was a whole different ball game. So God was merciful to me, hearing the prayer that I made, that no matter what happens in life, my marriage will not be endured, but it will be enjoyed. God sent me this amazing woman. I used to call her my spiritual mother. She still is. She's the one who trained me. And then I took it off. I liked everything she said, and I followed up from there. I became a full-time Christian. No sitting on the fence. No, none of that. I became a full-time Christian, and I began to follow God. I began to follow God, and I followed God. He taught me how to pray. I began to have dreams. I began to see visions. I began to hear the voice of the Lord. My brothers and sisters, it didn't happen overnight. You want to know how long I've been married for? I've been married for 16 years. I told you that already. So you can imagine it didn't happen overnight. That it is just now that God is permitting me to share my story with everybody. But that's it. This is my story. It wasn't easy. And I'm not going to give you the full details at one episode or in one episode. So you have to be patient. Whatever I tell you today, you take it. You join me next time, because you know, when it comes to all this social media stuff, you have to be living stuff so that you can be coming back, and you also be coming back to listen. So that's it. It wasn't easy, just so I tell you. I entered marriage without Jesus. Yeah, I entered marriage without Jesus. So I met this wonderful woman of God, Mrs. Oshoba. And that was somewhere in Surulere in Nigeria. And so she will teach me about Jesus. I'll just go to her house. You know, I wanted to work. I used to want to be so, yeah, I think it's used to. I used to be very ambitious. Very, very ambitious. I wanted to do in fact, at the time, I was a broadcaster. I was working with someone, he's very popular. I don't want to say his name, but I was working with him. My to-be husband then said no. I said, I wanted to get married, so I stopped. Then when we eventually got married, my eyes opened. He said, no working for my wife. I said, so he said, that you're not going to work because I don't want my wife to work. And I said, oh my God. So imagine me being a very ambitious lady, now getting married to somebody who said he didn't want his wife to work. And I don't know, didn't we have this conversation? I was working when we met. But that's just what happens. So I'm telling you, and I want you to be able to enjoy my story, because my husband was not a born-again Christian. Me, sitting on the fence. Today I'm born again, tomorrow I'm not. I want you to have that at the back of your mind, because so many of you are on this table, but I want that to change. I really, really, really want that to change. So I want you all to learn this. And so we decided, we stayed. He said, no working. Called everybody in the family. Even went to my pastor at the time. What will I do? I cannot do this. So, thank God for Mr. Shoba. She taught me to pray, taught me everything. And so, as I was growing in God, I began to learn God. And God began to show me so many things. And God told me, this thing didn't start with you. Daughters of Zion, are you listening? The Lord is asking me to say it. This thing that you're going through didn't start with you. And so one day, while I was praying like a flash, I saw 3 generations of women from my mother's side. And the Lord showed me the 3 of them never lasted with any man. I said, Lord, what do I do? He said, so if you want to succeed in this thing called marriage, you'll have to work with me. So, to start my journey to transformation, an enjoyable marriage, I went on my knees. You know the first thing I did to start this journey? I said, Lord, you're going to forgive me for getting into marriage without your permission, without consulting you, without asking you. Guys, I'm already married. I didn't do this. I didn't divorce my husband. I didn't get out of the marriage. I was still in the marriage. I knelt down one day when my husband wasn't home. In the midst of all the turmoil, me looking like a shadow of myself, from being a very ambitious lady to just somebody who's in the house, doing nothing, just looking at space. And it's not like we were rich, so you don't get it twisted. We weren't rich. There was nothing. We were literally just starting together. Oh, but he was very hardworking. Very, very hardworking. I'm not even going to take that for granted. I, on the other hand, even though I was hardworking, I was limited. But then I waited on God. I stayed with God. There were hard days. There were difficult times. Because you see, if you want to work with God, you have to do it His way. You can't just wake up and say, okay, my marriage is about to break. My marriage is about to be destroyed. I'm going to make sure I do this. And you listen to all those so-called therapists and listen to people who just went about doing things their own way. I sat down and I told God, I said, Lord, now that I have committed this marriage unto your hands, because you have to first acknowledge that you made the mistake. That's why I always remind us, you were the one who picked your spouse. You chose your husband for yourself. Nobody chose him for you, except you are in the boat where somebody chose your husband for you. Okay, for that one. Well, you're already in it. Let's take it from there. Okay? So, I said, all right, what do I do? Mercy, Lord. Mercy. I cried. I prayed. Said, Father, forgive me for going into this marriage without asking you first, without consulting you, without talking to you about it. Show me mercy. I am truly sorry. Forgive me. And so, after doing that, then my journey really began. I started reading the Bible a lot. I don't think I spent time reading novels and other books. No. I focused on the Bible because I knew only the Bible could save me. In fact, there was a book that one of my pastors gave me at that time. I think was the title of the book, Love and Respect. Love what a woman so desires and respects what a man so desires. But it was Love and Respect. I didn't read it. I'm not even going to lie. I think I still have the book after 16 years. Yeah. And so I just spent more time praying. I spent more time reading my Bible. I spent more time asking God what was His will. But He never really replied me. Or maybe He did, and I didn't hear because I was just learning to hear Him. But I surrendered myself completely. I put myself down. And so this is my encouragement to that child of God who is feeling so discouraged and saying that her marriage will never work, I think the best thing for me, in fact, everybody has advised you, get out of that marriage. Get out of that marriage. He's a very selfish man. He's very wicked. Well, listen to me. Take this as a warning of the Lord to you. God wants to use you for something great. God wants to use your husband for something great. And all this right here, all that you're seeing right now, it's a plot of the enemy to discourage you and get you out of God's plan. Because even though I'm not giving you the full story, I've made you see the beginning. It wasn't easy. But here I am today. You know, it's so funny when really they say God doesn't use the qualified. I'm not qualified because I never really was born again. My husband never, well, like I said, born again. I was sitting on the fence. So I never really was. I was just sitting on the fence. But I worked closely with God, very closely. We worked together. And the transformation, today I can tell you, I'm not speaking in faith. I'm telling you for real that I am a happy woman, a happy wife. And I didn't expect my husband to make me a happy wife. God did it. God did it. So I just look at the face of Jesus and I am so thankful that he made me go through the things that I went through to become the woman that I am today, to be where I am today. And I tell you this with joy, no pain, no anger. I knew that no matter what, this is God. He's working on me and he's working on my husband. But somebody had to stand in the gap. And that somebody is me, was me. I stood in the gap. I prayed for my family. I prayed for my husband, but guess what? The enemy is a liar. Every time I prayed, the harder it will get. Every time I prayed, the harder it will get. But the voice of the Lord will come. Joshua 1:9, it kept me for a very long time. Do not be afraid. Be not dismayed. I am with you, whithersoever thou goest, according to the King James Version. And I held on to that word. I knew that the Lord was always with me no matter what. It was through my husband, through this trial, this struggle, that I learned to hear the voice of God expressly. God will use anything to draw you close to him. And he used my bad marriage to draw me close to him, which today is a very, very beautiful one. And I will remain on my knees to keep it so till my time on earth is up. So I want to encourage you. Doesn't matter how bad it may look right now. Doesn't matter how difficult it may look right now. Jesus is there. Through the storm, he's there. Through the hard times, he's there. Through the very difficult times, he is there. He never gives up on his own. So be encouraged. Now I think about those days with a smile on my face. I thank God for my spiritual mother. That's what I call her, Mrs. Oshoba. I thank God for her every day of my life. She was God. She coming into my life was God showing me mercy. She came into my life. She taught me a lot of things. And because of what she did, that's why I'm looking for 200 women, to teach them things that they think are impossible for them to achieve. Women of God, come. I want to build this army of women for Jesus Christ who have come to realize that marriage is really a weapon against the kingdom of darkness when it is put in the hand of the Almighty God. Because that's where we women, that's where we start winning. That's where we start winning. That's where we start winning. So, daughter of Zion, arise, arise, arise. Be the lioness that you are against the kingdom of darkness. I said it in my very first 2 episodes. You are the one that Satan is most afraid of. As frail as you may look, as weak as you may seem, you are the one that he is most afraid of. Because in your natural element, the element that God called you to show to the world, you are strong. You are mighty. You should be fearless. You should be bold. You are a daughter of Zion, a woman of valor. In every woman is a Deborah. In every woman is a Jael. Forget it. Just arise. Don't let the enemy deceive you. You're too tough for what you're going through. You just haven't come into the knowledge of your Father. Get to know your Father. Get to know his Son. And get to hear the voice of his Spirit. And you will be strong. All right. That's the encouragement I wanted to give you. So stay strong. Jesus is on your side. I'll see you next time. This is Anne from Den of Truth, where Jesus is the way that we follow. Jesus is the truth that we seek and speak. And Jesus is a life that we lead and live. Have a good day. This is Anne from Den of Truth. Bye-bye.